What's up guys, Jake Hunt from Fitness Culture. So we know people have had a long break before they're coming back into the gym right now. A lot of people are getting back into the gym right now. By the way, we have the Summer Sizzle going on right now, so if you want to click the link in the description and sign up for that. Everything that we're going over today, we're going to be including these exercises in the Summer Sizzle to get you guys ready to get back into the gym. But anyway, so Steve made a video the other day that was kind of the four things, our four mistakes when people come back into the gym, and one of them was neglecting your prehab exercises. So today I just wanted to go over, because recently I just had a little bit of a flare-up injury on my shoulder because I kind of did the same thing, and it wasn't from the pandemic. I actually was just being lazy all of last year apparently, and I got a little bit weaker. And so in January, I started to actually take my training serious for about 12 weeks, and I really didn't focus on the little muscles that help keep me structurally balanced. So when I tested my bench in January, it was about 455, and it was over 500 12 weeks later. And the only reason I was able to do that is because I've already been there before, right? And that's how everyone's gonna be right now. So you've lost a lot of strength, you've been away from the gym for a couple of months, and your strength's gonna come back very, very quickly. And that's what happened to me, and I wasn't focusing on the muscles that really are gonna keep our shoulder in a good position, good postural position. So today we're gonna talk about some exercises so you guys don't neglect them, so you don't do the same and make the same mistake I did and come back and get injured, all right? So let's get into it. All right guys, so we got Mitch here. He's gonna help demonstrate some stuff for me. He was just behind the camera, now he's in front of the camera. So he's gonna help me demonstrate the muscles that we're gonna be trying to focus on to really keep your shoulder really structurally balanced is what it's gonna be, and keep it in a good position. So what's gonna happen, what happened to me is I didn't focus enough when I came back on making sure all these muscles stayed strong. Honestly, I neglected my warm-up. I didn't have a lot of time. I didn't focus enough time. I didn't give myself enough time. I definitely had the time to get in here and warm up before I started lifting. I was lazy. And what happened was my shoulder was kind of starting to get into a bad position. So what happens is you have these giant muscles, your pecs, your lats, even your shoulders, but your pecs and lats are gonna, once you come off a long break, they're gonna get super sore, they're gonna get tight. And if you're not, they're gonna be basically pulling your shoulder into this position, right? When your chest gets tight, your lat gets tight, you're gonna be pulling your shoulder into a bad position. And so you need to work on these upper back muscles that help pull your shoulder back into a good position to keep structural balance in your shoulder, right? So today, the thing we're gonna focus on the most, the thing that we typically focus on is external rotators and what people are now calling your trap 3, which is gonna be your lower trap. So your trap muscle comes all the way around here, and that lower trap really does a great job of retracting your scapula and putting your shoulder into a good position. And it's very commonly neglected in people's training programs, right? So today we're gonna go over kind of from very, very base level exercises to kind of get that thing firing and see what it feels like to actually engage those muscles if you haven't done it in a while and get them going. And then we'll work up to some actual exercises that'll help to strengthen those muscles. And so the first two things we're gonna go over today they're really basic movements that are gonna help you fix your movement pattern. And if you have a really hard time just getting your shoulder overhead into a good position, they're gonna help you work on that before we get into strengthening those muscles. So we wanna fix the movement first, and then we'll strengthen the muscles. So let's get into it. All right guys, these first couple things I'm gonna show you are really not as much, there's not gonna be a lot of weight behind them, but they're more just feedback drills to get muscles firing so you can kind of feel them before you get going. So this one, actually, I showed Mitch behind the camera the other day, and it's one of his favorite exercises now. So on this first exercise, what we're working to work here it's gonna be those muscles that do retract your scapula, and we're gonna get feedback from the ground. And this is how we're gonna set up. So we're gonna set up with our hand behind our head like this, and the arm that we're working is gonna be straight down. And what you're gonna try to do, keep your arm as straight as you can, and I'm pretty immobile right now, so it's not gonna look as pretty as it should, but I'm gonna try to press my wrist into the ground to get feedback the entire time. And if you do that on this movement, you're really gonna feel those muscles start to fire that retract your scapula. So we're gonna press the wrist, and we're gonna start working down towards the waist here, pressing the entire time. So if your hand's coming off the ground, you're doing it wrong. Press into the ground here. Once we get right around shoulder level, we're gonna flip, and then from here, you're gonna try to keep your shoulder into the ground, which I'm not gonna be able to do, and try to start working your hand under your butt, and then you're gonna come back out the same way. Flip over, really squeeze your shoulder blade down, press your wrist into the ground, and then work overhead like that. And that's one rep. They take a while. You want to take your time, really focus on getting a good squeeze. And they're really, if you have really bad shoulder mobility, it's going to be super, super difficult to even just get your arm into the ground, right? So this is a great one to get you going. Just start it off. We usually do about 10 reps on each side and then just do like 2 sets of that. All right guys, this next drill is another drill. So both these first 2 drills I actually got from Functional Movement Systems when I did the functional movement screen. They're corrective exercises that, they're like 2 of my favorite exercises that I learned from them. All right, so we actually loop 2 bands through, and then you're just gonna put them around the rack a little bit higher. And the bands are actually, so this is really gonna be a drill for people that have bad overhead mobility, and it's gonna allow you, it's gonna assist you into a good position. So you're gonna sit down on the ground, you're gonna put your hands in the bands like this. Put your head on the ground like this. You're gonna flip your thumbs to the sky here, press out, come up, back down, into a good position, then switch arms. So really I need to keep my head on the ground the entire time. So on this one we usually do like 5 to 6 reps on each side. The great thing about this, obviously, if you just lower the band a little bit lower on the rack, it's not gonna help you as much. So you can start with it really high. It's gonna really help you get into a good position. Once you start getting stronger and you're feeling that and you can control it on your own, you can move that band down until eventually you don't even need the band to help you on this exercise. All right guys, for this next exercise, we're gonna be on the free motion cable here. And it's just gonna be a single arm cable Y raise. And so the reason that I like this is because you can go super, super light with your athletes to get started and really focus on the movement here. So the way you're gonna set up, we're gonna go in a split stance, so opposite leg forward of the arm that you're using, and focus on keeping your core tight, squeezing that back glute into a good position. Then you're gonna squeeze your shoulder blades down and back into a good position. From there, flex that tricep, thumb to the sky here, and then remember, keep your core tight, hold it at the top, and then control it back down. And you can even reset every rep. So squeeze down and back, squeeze up for a couple seconds, spend time up there, and then control it back down. So the reason that we're focusing on squeezing our back glute, keeping the core tight, is really to keep our lumbar a little bit straighter, so more into flexion and less into extension, because a lot of the times guys that have poor mobility overhead in this movement, they're gonna get way overextended to be able to get like that, right? To get that over their head, but really you'll feel the difference. So if you're coming from this position into this position, you're gonna feel the tension really in your thoracic spine. It's gonna be a completely different movement. So it's gonna be way harder to get into a good position overhead, squeezing your core, flexing that back glute, focusing on getting overhead here. So on these ones, we usually do 3 sets, 10 reps an arm, and then focus on squeezing for at least a 2 count at the top, and then controlling it down for a 3 or 4 count. All right guys, the next one we got is gonna be a single arm trap 3 Y raise, and we're gonna be doing this just with super light weight, because you're not gonna be able to do a ton of weight here unless you're really strong in these movements. And we're gonna focus on using the incline bench, but keeping our head locked into that forearm the entire time. So get in a good position, lock your head down, set your shoulder blade into a good place here, lock out that elbow, and then you're gonna raise up, 1, 2, control it down, and then reset every time. If you're having troubles getting overhead, you'll notice that people will have a tendency to start raising their head up as they raise the weight up. It's really focus on keeping that head in contact with your forearm on this movement. So same thing on this one, we usually do about 10 reps, and you're gonna be doing at least a 2 count at the top and then controlling the weight back down. All right guys, the last one's just gonna be an incline bench Y raise. You're gonna be using both arms on this one. And the reason that I do this one last is because doing both arms is gonna be a little bit more challenging for some people, so I usually like to focus on the single arm movements before we go into the double arm. So what you're gonna do is set up on a bench, just with your knees on the bench. It's gonna be the same type of movement. You're gonna squeeze your shoulder blades down into a good position, flex your elbows, to lock out your triceps, thumbs to the sky, and then hold it at the top. Squeeze it back, hold it at the top for at least 2. 1, 2, come back down. Big thing too, and even I'm struggling right now, at the top, make sure that you're not starting to bend your elbows like this, right? You really want to punch it out, flex your triceps, squeeze it at the top, come back down. We usually do like 3 sets, about 10 reps. Control it down, squeeze it for at least a 2 count at the top. You really want to spend a lot of time under tension with all of these movements squeezed out at the top of the movement, because we tend to take over the movements at the bottom. So like sometimes I'll see people doing these movements where they're like kind of exploding from the bottom and just coming up like that, and you're really not getting a lot of work in the targeted muscles because all the momentum is just taking over the movement. So if you're not stopping, pausing, spending time here at the top, then you're not gonna get as much work as you need in those muscles. All right guys, that wraps up for today. So I hope you can take these exercises and implement them into your training. Like I said in the beginning, we usually do these extensively before we do any upper body day, to really just focus on them since they're so commonly neglected. And then we use them to superset in between movements, or even between supersets, to kind of be a part of our rest period, right? Because they're easy to get in there. You're not gonna use a lot of weight. It's not gonna get your heart rate up a lot. And it's just a way to make it so you're not wasting time during your rest period in the gym. So you're not sitting around talking to people and things like that. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, we have our summer sizzle going on right now if you guys want to register for that. And a lot of these exercises are going to be included, well, they're always included in our warm-ups and during our workouts in the Fitness Culture app. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please give me a comment on what you want me to cover next. And please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.